go and we'll do our best. We'll put them under pressure. The game is about being effective, being aggressive, winning the ball, getting on with the play. We'll put them under pressure.
And taking myself off, move us to the right side. It's another coup happening at TH. A coup happens once a week in this channel. Philip's like the Russian version of Yeltsin, right? It comes in in his big tank with his big flag and a bottle of vodka in one hand and a tank in the other, and he tries to take over this channel. I'm not Gorbachev. I don't have a big love bite on my head.
You'll have a hammer blow on your head in a minute if you got more crap like that. You should really. Here we go. Here we go. I'll be back in a second. I'm sorry about
that's,
this.
That's the Russian Federation ring of How's the coup getting on? That's Yeltsin's mob. And have you taken over THFC yet? Anyway, good afternoon, folks. Hope you're all doing well, and welcome to THFC Till I Die, your home of Tottenham past, present, and exciting future under Ange Postecoglou, the Australian kangaroo, who's going to bounce us to glory in his years at Tottenham ahead. And a little bit of good news: he's not interested in the Bayern Munich job. He's not interested in the Liverpool job. He wants to stay at Tottenham. He wants to leave a legacy at Tottenham, and he wants to be as successful as Bill Nicholson. So there you go. Tottenham fans, he is staying. But how are you all this afternoon? Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're happy. Hope you're enjoying the sun. Well, it's sun here in the east of Ireland anyway. I don't know what it's like in Leitrim. Probably pouring with rain. And what's it like wherever you're watching this around the world? Because, folks, we do go global. We've got people watching this in Zimbabwe, Hong Kong, Chile. Somebody will even watch this in Brazil, which is quite amazing to me. But anyway, hope you're doing well. Let's see who's in the chat. We've got Wembley One says, afternoon, everyone. Afternoon, Wembley One. Hope you're doing well. Stephen Cartwright, afternoon, lads. Hope you're all well. I'm Grant. Hope you're doing well too. Philip's just talking to the Russian Federation, giving them an update on the coup. He's probably telling them it's not going very well. I need reinforcements. So there you go. Anyway, DJ Samuel says, afternoon, coys. Levy out. Purple and gold. Yeah, we are going to talk about the ticket increases. I'm not happy about it either, to be fair. So we have to see what happens. The club did put it off last season, but sorry about that. Sorry. Yeah, so sorry about that. Boris Britt, it says, seems the woman who accused Horner has been suspended from Red Bull. Yeah, I've just saw that broke. I haven't looked into it. I will look into that for you, lads, and give it to you more later. But I don't know why. I don't know if it's Red Bull trying to sweep the problem under the carpet, if it's a male snobbery thing, if it's again the woman in the workplace not being taken seriously. I feel any accusation has to be taken seriously, and I feel that, and it's a shame on Red Bull, because Red Bull was supposed to be this company that was supposed to be equal, that everyone was equal in the company, men and women are equal. And if he has done something wrong, he should be then suspended under with full pay, under a full investigation. Not do the investigation why he's still in charge. And the investigation said, "Oh, this was an independent investigation." For me personally, he should have been suspended, and he should have been investigated while suspended. And a proper inquiry or proper investigation made public, not done privately, had to be made public. So everyone within F1, everyone within the sporting world can see that it was transparent and it was upfront, and everyone can then make their own opinions on it. For me, it was done secretly. It was done, I think, in his favor to keep him there. And if there is a power struggle at Red Bull, then it has to come out and be clean about it. They have to come out and be honest about it. What was the accusation? What was behind? Why did they come to the decision of clearing him? Was the leaked text messages done from the Verstappen side? Was it done from anyone within Red Bull? Is this to do with Horner trying to buy Red Bull because the owner of Red Bull died last summer, passed away? And it's just, we're no further forward on what has happened there. And I feel, in my view, that it's a whitewash. And if this woman or this person, this lady has a case, then I feel it's bad on F1, it's bad on Formula One, and it's bad on Red Bull as a brand that they haven't taken this lady's accusation seriously. An investigation needs to be made public. Everyone within Formula One has to know what was the text messages, what was the accusations. It's okay saying I cannot comment because there is an investigation happening. Well, that investigation was done privately. So, and as fans, we have a right to know that Formula One should be transparent, and it should. The rest of the 11 teams or 9 teams have a right to know what's going on. And Toto Wolff was spot on when he says this has to be transparent. We've got a president of the FIA who's now been investigating for trying to fix a race as well at the Las Vegas Grand Prix, where Alonso got a 10-second penalty, stop and go. And the president says, put pressure on the stewards. No, don't bother, don't give him, take that away from him, take that away from him. And it's wrong. And Formula One is a global sport. Formula One is one of the massive sports in the world. Behind the Olympics, I think behind soccer, Formula One is the third world's most watched sport. And we're being paraded. We're parading our dirty linen in public, where we've got a team principal who's being investigated for something that should have been done. We've got a president of the Motorsport Federation that's been investigated for trying to fix a race or trying to put pressure on stewards to take away a penalty against a driver. And I love my Formula One. I really do love my Formula One. I love the sport, always have done since I was a kid. Ayrton Senna was my hero. And Formula One in the 80s and 90s, and even the early 2000s, was a sport. Formula One is not a sport anymore. Formula One's a business. Formula One's about who has the most money. And something has to change. And I didn't mean to go into a rant about it, but for me, that's how I feel. Big up. Thanks for that, Boris. Really, I didn't mean to go on the rant, but I really enjoyed that. Thank you. Chris says, big up, lads. Hope you're well. Big up, Mr. Welsh. Hope you're around the weekend to get you one to do some F1 coverage. We are doing qualifying tomorrow, guys, so please watch for that. Peter M, big up, sir. The legend that is Mr. Peter M. He says, big up, everyone. And Dermot, big up, Peter. Hope you're doing well. Wembley 1, off to Malta tomorrow for a week. You lucky git. Can you take me with you? Me and Dermot are me and Mrs. Tron, right? We're very small. We're fitting your suitcase. We're fitting your suitcase nicely, if you can. It says, haven't been before, but we're looking to try and catch a Maltese league game. I tell you what, you're over there, Wembley. If you do a bit of a game roundup for us, if you can. Send it to me. You got our email is on the YouTube channel. Let us know, and we'll put it up on the channel. Wembley on tour. There you go. Wembley 1 on tour. Big up to Peter M. Wembley 1. I went to Malta twice for my holidays in the 90s and early 2000s. I say Gozo. Stay on Gozo. I loved it. Big up. Gozo. Sounds like Gonzo. Yeah, I know. Gonzo sounds like Gonzo. Gozo sounds like Gonzo out of the Muppets. I like a bit of Gonzo. Anyway, I've seen the text messages. Have you seen the text messages? I haven't seen the text messages. I want to see them. Not fair. Says, I'm seeing the text messages. I'm shocked his marriage isn't over after seeing the marriages, to be honest. Now, Mr. Brady.
What we do? Marriage guidance? We do a marriage guidance?
Well, no, I've had a rant on Formula One because the girl that put in the accusation against Christian Horner has been suspended. Now, I know you're laughing, Philip, and I think you're laughing for the same way I'm thinking of it, right? I ran on a rant saying this has to be take any walk of life. I don't feel women are taken seriously in any sport or business. And any accusations like this, Philip, you know yourself, you would be suspended until that investigation has been completed. I want to ask you 2 questions in this, Philip. You've been in business, the banking world, and you've been in the banking world most of your life, as well as the travel world as well. Do you feel the investigation should have been made more public within the F1 teams, within the F1 community, that they knew what was going on? And secondly, shouldn't Christian Horner have been suspended while this investigation happened? Because does it make it a mockery that they're not really taking her seriously?
Oh, listen, I have to admit, I haven't followed this very closely, so what I'm saying might not be fully in tune on what's been going on. But if she made an allegation, right, and has now been suspended because those allegations are probably false, then she was set up to do it by somebody else, right? Somebody set her up. Looks like to me, you tell them he did this, that, and the other. We'll give you a few bob and whatever. That rarely works because somebody in the chain of command is going to break rank and say, no, that's false. We told her to do that. Or as a whistleblower will come along and say, no, that's not right. She was told to do that. So like these investigations, unless they're done by somebody completely neutral and outside their organization, are never going to be fair and equitable.
No.
Because you're going to have people are going to be on one side or the other, and that's going to show in their verdict. So have someone in there that's completely neutral, then you get a fair verdict, and you get the truth will come out eventually. But they're like kangaroo courts when you have it inside your own organization.
Yeah. And you know Red Bull's a massive brand, Philip. Red Bull and the owner of Red Bull died last summer. Dietrich, I forget his second name now. And he runs 2 F1. He's been very good to Formula One.
Yeah.
There's rumors going around that Horner was trying to buy out Red Bull with an American investment. There is also rumors going around. So I think it's a power play.
It could
be an absolute power play.
Who knows?
Big business. You know big business, Philip. Big business. Yeah. There's always somebody trying to get ahead of somebody else.
It stinks because they'll smile to your face and stab you in the back at the same time. You know, that's the way that's what happens. So it looks to me, you could be right. There could be a power play in here. Somebody's waiting in the wings to take over or whatever, or is backing Horner to take over. And now all this is blown up, and that's put that in the cart. You know, so it's. But I'll tell you one thing: it's what they don't want just at the very start of a season.
But in one way, it's very good.
It's publicity. It's publicity.
Yeah,
but it's not good publicity.
It's not. No, and to be fair, Philip, I feel sorry for the lady. If this is true, and she's been suspended and she's been scapegoated for allegations that could be true, I think that's very bad for Formula One. Yeah, and I also got the president being investigated for trying to fix a race at the Las Vegas Grand Prix last year, trying to put pressure on the stewards to take away a penalty. Now,
lovely.
You know me. I love my Formula One, Philip. You know how much I love my Formula One.
Yeah.
Even I'm astonished at this. This is worse than what Bernie tried to get up to back in the day. Peter Rem says F1 is a shadow of what it was in the 80s and 90s. Yeah, absolutely spot on. Best time for F1 was Senna and Prost and Mansell were all racing each other. Yeah. For me, yeah. Philip has not got a clue what I'm talking about.
I know Senna and Prost. Sorry, I just put it in my head there to write it down.
I tell you what, Senna's my all-time hero, Philip. Ayrton Senna, that man would have no problem running off a track at 200 miles an hour, right? Mm-hmm. Which he did do. Yeah. But he would stop in the middle of a racetrack and help another driver. Would stop in the middle of the track and help a driver out of the car and risk his own life doing it. There is a complex of what he was like, but he used to give thousands to charity. They reckon if he ran for Brazilian presidency, he would have got it. Yeah. That's how. When he died, Brazil went into 3 days of national mourning. That's how popular he was. Yeah. He was my hero. I cried. I was 13, 14 or 15 when he died. And I ran home from Mass. And my mum said to me, your favourite driver's just crashed. And I thought, oh, he'd be grand. I cried.
Yeah,
I
burst
into tears when he died. I literally cried. It was like my hero. He was the reason I'm 4 years old, 5 years old. I started watching Formula One because of him. I miss him daily. He would be. His nephew went into Formula One, and they did one picture for him the first time he went into practice. Okay. And he had the helmet on. And you looked at the helmet. The co-commentator, Martin Brundle, who raced with him, stood there. He says, I've just had a shiver going down my spine. It's like seeing Ayrton in the car. His eyes were exactly the same as his nephew's. It was just really... It was something. With respect to Jos Verstappen, who was a nobody, he's not perfect either with his past. The FI president needs to investigate for getting involved in fixing Saudi races results last year. That was it. Fingers crossed we win on Saturday. No, you're not. The Irish are coming over to beat the hell out of you. Are they playing at us or are we playing there?
No, it's Twickenham.
We're going to beat the hell out of them. Cheers, Peter. Hello, Philip. Says Peter.
Hi, Peter. How are you?
We've got Wembley one. Well, we'll do a Wembley one's going to Malta, right? And he's going to find a Malta match. So he's going to do a match for us, like a match roundup from Malta third division. We're going to put it up on the channel. We're going to call it Wembley One on Tour. That's what we're going to call it. Wembley One. Wembley will have a great break. Yeah. Chris says, by the way, I'm not defending Horner as he should be removed. Can't behave like that as a team president. It's like anybody in the top job, Philip. His job now has become untenable, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's
his position.
His position it has, and this may have all been worked around to make that happen. Yeah. He probably has enemies.
Yeah.
That they're now using their power to get at him like this. I say I'm not wholly tuned into the whole scenario, but it sounds to me as if he's been shafted.
It's a bit like the FAA, isn't it? Trying to find a manager. We've been shafted.
No, it's not that. No, it's not, you can't compare the two, Dermot. Really.
I know. I say really. We've been shafted.
Not in the way he's been.
Anyway, breaking news: John O'Shea has been announced as full-time Irish manager.
You're joking.
You wait for it. Oh, that's what's going to be announced.
No, that's not going to happen.
You wait for it. Wait for it. The FAA would say he gets a good result against Belgium. We lose against the other team. They're thinking, we don't have to spend any money here. John O'Shea for the job. There we go. If Horner stays, the impossible could happen. Max could replace Lewis at Mercedes due to Joss Bond. Could happen. We've got the third unholy Irishman in Ireland with us.
Oh, here he is.
Behind me and Philip. We've got the Angel Gabriel. Look at him. If you wonder where Angel Gabriel is at the moment, he's at the moment sitting on the cloud, dusting off his halo, ready for tonight's stream. As for the devil next to me, that side of me.
I'm polishing my horns up for tonight.
He's polishing his horns, and me as Moses, I'm still pissed off somebody broke my tablet. I've only got one now. I went back to God. He won't give me another. So I'm going to have words with the Angel Gabriel. It was his fault he broke my tablet.
He'd only give you a Samsung. He wouldn't give you an Apple one.
Yeah. I went up the mountain, Philip. He gave me an iPad and a Samsung, right? Gave it to the Angel Gabriel. He wanted to look up Tottenham's history, and he broke the damn thing on me. So I went back up to God. He won't give me one. They give me a bollocking. So, I might have to come to you. The devil. It's not what I want to do. But anyway, the unholy Trinity is back tonight. The three most unholy men in Ireland are back on your screens at 9 o'clock tonight.
I must tell you a joke. I must tell you a joke tonight. I can't tell it before 9 o'clock, but it's to do with Donald Trump went to hell. It's a very good joke. I'll tell you later on.
Did he strike a deal with the devil then?
No, it's very good. I'll tell you later.
Chris says, I'm seeing if Horner stays, Max will want to leave. Ford will want the 2026 engine deal terminated, and all the cards will come crashing down. You're right there. We've got keeping Adrian Newey. It's a key for Red Bull. If he goes, all of a sudden game on. Chris says, I sent you the link messages, Thermo. Oh, thank you. I'll have a quick look at that. I can't really see, but hang on. Let's see. Can I? Hang on. I'm seeing one of them now. Ooh, yeah. I'm surprised too. I'm very surprised. I'll send you these as well, Philip. Don't worry. Nice. You know what I'm talking about. I just can't. I look at them on my phone. Chris, you've whetted my appetite. Anyway, Peter M. Funny how history repeats itself. I was gutted when Jim Clark. Yeah, Jim Clark. I mean, I know you're not a big Formula One fan, Philip, right? But a sportsman like Jim Clark, how shocking was that around that time when he died? Was it like big news?
Oh, excuse me. Yeah, it was a shock. He was the best driver in the world at that stage. In fact, the fact that he was killed in the practice Formula 2 race is probably an even bigger shock, You wouldn't find the likes of Verstappen racing in Formula 2 at the moment. No. But I suppose in those days, the money wasn't around, and that was how he earned his money, by doing other races,
But was it big news back then, Philip? Was it?
Oh yeah, God, yeah. Oh yeah, it was big news. Yeah.
Was it like you knew where you were the day like Kennedy was?
Well, no, not quite that big. When there's only several people that has happened to. You knew when JFK died or Elvis died or something. But no, he wasn't quite in that league. But he was very, very high up the sporting headlines.
Well, I knew I was when JFK died. I was still in my twinkle in my dad's eye. I knew I was when Elvis died. I was sitting on my mum's lap, 6 months old, looking for another bottle. Yeah. I was, when the Twin Towers happened, I was at work in a machine, loading manhole covers off a lorry. And the driver come over to me. He says, there's been an attack in America. I put the radio on. As soon as I put the radio on in the digger, it came out that the first tower had collapsed.
Mm.
Now, my ex-wife was a florist, and she was doing a funeral florist for Irish travelers that live near us. And she was that, I always remember, and never forget it, she was doing a full-size cooker in flowers. Remember the old cookers, Philip, with the grill at the top of the cooker? Do you remember them back in the day?
Yeah.
She was doing the full-size one of them. And my dad was in hospital after cancer treatment, having the tumor removed. And he said to the nurse, what film have you got on the telly? Nobody could quite believe what was happening. It looked like a movie. I mean, do you remember where you were that day, Philip?
I do actually, because I'll tell you what, I was after coming back from holidays the day before, and I had a problem. I got a blood vessel in my leg, was bleeding. I don't know what, my leg is swollen up anyway.
Yeah.
So I was sent home from work. So I was lying at home with my foot up watching the TV, and my mother, God rest her, was living with us at the time, and she came in and she said, "Stick on the TV. Something's after happening in New York." So that was at 2:00 in the afternoon, or 2:15 in the afternoon. I did not leave that TV for 24 hours. I sat up the whole night watching what was going on. Yeah. Could not believe it, because my wife has cousins living in New York, and in fact, this is a story. This is an actual true story. Michael, her first cousin, is a fireman in New York, right?
Yeah.
And he was due to work that day, but he had to go to a funeral or a wedding or something, so he switched with one of his workmates. That workmate was killed.
Jesus.
And Michael had to have therapy for about 3 years after it, because he just could not forgive himself for what happened, So that's my connection with 9/11.
Yeah. I mean, to watch that, but look, hasn't the world gone mad since then?
Oh, it's gone crackers. It's gone crazy.
Yeah.
It really has. It's really gone crazy.
I mean, 7/7. This is a true story. I was working on the Arsenal Stadium in 7/7 when 7/7 went off.
Yeah.
And I always remember it. I was late going to work that morning. I was really late going because the trains were delayed. And I got the underground. And my boss has said to me to get off at Russell Square because he wanted me to pick up something.
Right.
And I got to Finsbury Park. He says, Dermot, get off at Finsbury Park. Somebody else is picking it up for you. If I had carried on, I was on the tube that blew up.
Yeah.
I got off at Finsbury Park and the tube went on and the tube blew up under Rankings Cross.
Well, the nearest I ever had to something like that was the Dublin bombings in 1974. I was just at the start of work, and I had my first car, and I was driving home, and I picked up some of the lads to bring them home, and I drove past Talbot Street, and 2 minutes later, I heard this kind of a muffled noise, but there was a lot of demolition work going on around Dublin at the time, so I thought that's what it was. No radio in the car, no nothing. Got home, my mother, thanks be to God, you're home. He says, Dublin was bombed. We estimated we passed the bomb site 2 minutes before it went off.
Was that 72, Philip?
74.
74, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so I got to work, right? I got to work, and I always remember it was a rainy day. And nobody was working. I couldn't understand why. And they come on the radio that there'd been a power surge at the underground station. And then I'm hearing tricklings, there's been a terrorist attack. Now, my ex-wife used to work for the Department of Work and Pensions. She worked for the government in the government building in Watford. So my word for her was to ring her, and I couldn't use my mobile phone. So I had to go down to a payphone and ring her. And she was able to tell me what was happening. And we were kept at work until 2:00 that day. I'll never forget it because also it's my wedding anniversary of all days for it to happen, right? So I can't tell my ex-wife. So I come home and we're walking down. If anyone knows where the Arsenal Stadium is, near Hollywell Road, down to Finsbury Park, all the policemen are right down the road. And we were told to walk near the buildings because at that point a bus had been blown up. And it was the eeriest walk, Philip, I have ever taken in my life. It was like nobody spoke. Everyone just walked in dead silence. Got on the train, packed over. I got home. My ex-wife took one look at me and burst into tears. Now, I refused to go onto an underground for 3 months after that. I can understand why. I lost weight because I used to walk from Finsbury Park to the Emirates, which is a good 3-mile walk every day. I would not go on the underground. I got a fright that I would not. I went to the doctor about it. Now, eventually, I did go on the underground, and I've got no problem going on it now. But that freaked me out. But I always remember going on there. I just got into Finsbury Park. Get off the train, Dermo. We don't need you. Somebody else is picking it up. If I'd stayed on that train, I would have been caught in that explosion.
Cool. Shows you. Yeah.
And I tell you, it's the most eeriest time at work, Philip. I've never. Everyone just stood there in dumb disbelief what had happened.
Yeah.
And it was shocking. It was shocking. London came. I didn't go. I had the rest of the week off work. I couldn't sleep that night. I just said, "What the fuck?" But yeah. Then we had, of course, the IRA blew up a bank in St Albans. Well, they didn't really blow it up. What happened was the IRA came in, right? There was a army band plane, and two Egypts thought it'd be a good idea to stick a bomb outside a cash machine. True story. I was about 13 at the time, right? And I was in the snooker hall playing snooker with my mates, and the bomb wouldn't go off. So what did these two stupid Egypts do, right? They go back to the bomb and start poking at it. I mean, what do you think's going to happen?
It's like searching for a gas leak using a lighter, isn't it?
What do you think was going to fucking happen, right?
Oh,
so
lovely.
they were poking at the bomb exploded.
Scraping off the wall for the next week, I'd say, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's not the good bit, right? The cash machine started spewing out 20 and 50 pounds.
Oh, lovely,
right?
lovely.
On a Friday night, it packed, right? Everyone was picking money up, going over people's spits of guts and picking up free money.
Oh, lovely. Oh,
so the joke went round for months after. What's blue and goes bang? Barclays Bank. Honest to God, it was. But the IRA very quickly said it had nothing to do with us, right? They did admit it. They did admit it years later, but at that time, nothing to do with us. It come just after, I think. Before it was funny. It was funny. It was really funny.
No, back at the ranch.
Back at the ranch. Funny how history repeats. Oh yeah, wrong that one. Luckily, these days F1 is a lot safer. It is, Peter. Clark's death was very big news at the time. Chris at Dermot, be careful, mate. Reports are questioning if these messages are genuine. Yeah, I'm not going to bring them up, but I wanted to look at them because I've heard so much about them. But I can understand what you're getting at, Chris. Crowd says, "Good afternoon, gents. I've come into JFK, Elvis death, and Twin Towers. This is why I love this channel. It covers everything." Me and Philip don't. We do put a lot of work into talking nonsense, don't we?
It's a very hard skill to master. It really is. We seem to have mastered it.
Me and Philip turn up at 10 to 4, 5 to 4. What are we talking about?
What are we talking about today? Yeah.
I was at work, and when we turned on the TV, just all in shock watching it. I know. Peter M says, "I was very small when JFK died, but I remember being annoyed that normal TV programs were suspended."
Yeah. I think the Beverly Hillbillies was on that night when it happened.
Peter M says, "On 7/7, I was luckily working at home and not at work in Russell Square." Wow.
But you know, the thing about 9/11 that strikes me most, the guy came on it between the first and second explosions, you know, to actually see a plane crashing into a tower, and it wasn't a movie. It was just surreal. It really was surreal. Unbelievable.
And how that building was supposed to be indestructible.
Well, how I don't think anybody's ever explained it properly is how a thing that's built mainly with a steel frame collapsed the way it did.
Well, did you ever look at it, Philip? I worked in construction all my life, right? So I know demolition when I see demolition. That building went down like a demolition. Like
it did, didn't it? It was like it was charged inside the building as well as the planes hitting it, you know? Now, we don't want to start conspiracy theories, but it did. It went down.
Why not? Might as well add it to the channel, Philip. We might as well add it to the channel.
They went down so quickly with each other, you know? I mean, that was completely unexpected, you know?
That steel was supposed to be... Steel doesn't burn, Philip. Let's be serious here. Steel does not burn.
That's the thing. That's the thing. Unless it just completely, because then again, steel melts at a certain temperature, and that plane with the jet fuel on it would have created a temperature hotter than a furnace. So maybe that had something to do with it, you know.
But it just went down like that.
Yeah, it's whatever
Instead
support.
Of going like that or going like that.
Yeah. It was unreal. But you know what I think the saddest part? The people in the building above where the crash was waving and shouting and what. And that guy that actually jumped out. Let me see the picture of the video. Oh my God! I mean, that's incredible.
I tell you one thing. I still have nightmares about that even to this day. When I see something with 9/11, that fella, that gives me shivers.
Yeah, I went down to the monument for it the last time I was in New York.
Of course, you did.
It's very, very. I don't know what it's like. I've been to two places in my life that really got to me. One, they're both in America. One is the battlefield at Gettysburg, right? And also the other one is 9/11.
Is that the one where your daughter said she could hear something? Or
yeah. We stood there in February. It was sunset in February with a guide with us. It was one of the most famous parts of the battlefield called the Little Round Top. Yeah. And my daughter, who was 6 at the time, I think, said to me, "Daddy, I can feel something here." And I looked around and I was shivering. I know it was February, it was cold, but it was cold because I felt there was a presence there. Yeah. It was really, really unreal. And I'm not the only person that's had that experience, you know.
And you've been to Auschwitz as well, haven't you? And I remember you sent me videos.
I've been to Auschwitz. I've been to Auschwitz about 4 times.
But the video you sent me, Philip, that was shocking. I remember you sent me videos on WhatsApp of the videos you done. I remember watching them and being dumbstruck.
Well, I got off a bus with about 40 people, right? Yeah. And I said, I wrote down something on a piece of paper and gave it to the driver before. I said, "Now listen, I'm going to ask questions when I get back, see if this is the right answer." People did the tour, and I came back, and the bus drove away, and there was total silence. So I got the driver, "Open up what's in that envelope." And I says, "I bet you nobody talks for 10 minutes after we get back on the bus." And that was the case. Everybody was just so completely awestruck by what they'd seen, horrified by what they'd seen, angry at what they'd seen. And the biggest consensus from the people was every single German should be made to go to Auschwitz to see what their ancestors did. If you haven't been to Auschwitz, it is the most incredible experience. It's extremely depressing and it's uplifting at the same time. Because one of the times I was there was a party. We saw an El Al plane at the airport, so we knew there was Israeli people or Jewish people in the vicinity. And they were there with their Star of David flags all wrapped around it. And there's one old man, he must have been about 90, standing there, bawling his eyes out. And it was a hot summer's day, and I could see on his arm, he had the tattoo of his number still on his arm there. He was obviously a survivor. And he was coming back to us. And he was bawling, crying. We nearly all were, you know?
Yeah. Anyway. We've got, it's shocking, Philip. Small talk is the hardest talk, eh? With 37 minutes, Philip, we've talked everything but Tottenham.
I haven't mentioned football yet.
Yeah, I know. I talk crap all the time, and apparently no one don't listen. We listen, Carl. We listen. I think on 9/11, the steel frame metal due to external heat caused by the explosion film, which that's so true.
Yeah, that's my theory as well. But it was the heat of the jet fuel that caused it.
But what gets me, Philip, is the way the buildings just went down like in down.
Yeah.
And I've worked.
It must have just. Maybe it melted a certain portion of the steel, and that was enough to bring the top part down, which brought the rest of it down. You know.
Yeah. So I went to 9/11 Memorial in 2016. It got to me. My mum was in tears. I held the tears back.
Yeah, I can understand. It's a very, 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 very atmospheric and very, very sad place to go to.
On 9/11, I was picking up some work in central London in my car. I had heard on the radio a plane had hit the World Trade Center. I thought it was just an accident until I got home and found out the chilling truth. I know. Yeah. I believe there is something out there. Now, if Carl's going on to UFOs, so do I. I don't believe we're the only people in this universe. There is another Dermatron out there. There is another Philip Godfather out there.
Apparently. There's a burst of radio signals that was received in 1972 around that time. It lasts 40 seconds, and still to this day, no one knows where it came from. So there's something out there.
It was Richard Nixon sending out radio waves to say he had nothing to do with Watergate.
That was before Watergate, Thomas. That was before Watergate.
I thought Watergate was 72.
73 and 74.
Well, it was Richard Nixon standing out future proof he had nothing to do with Watergate.
Could have been.
Either that could have been aliens saying we support Tottenham Hotspur.
Or it could have been someone putting it in an order for a Chinese takeaway that went wrong, you know?
Yeah. maybe from the planet Zod.
Sorry, lads, I'll just take this call again. Sorry.
There's the Russian Federation asking how the coup's getting on. Not very well. I was in Saudi for the 1982 World Cup. The king died the morning of the opening match, and the country went into mourning. Only prayers on TV. Wow. I say would be. Where would that? Oh God, yeah, there would be. Anyone up for some cricket? Yeah, we are getting on the football, DJ. Don't worry. Sorry. I remember hearing about 9/11 on the BBC News Channel at my friend's home. We were all shocked and saddened. Yeah, as we were. Listening to Scotland-Brazil match on Portuguese radio. Don't speak the language. Went to bed thinking we won 1-0. Woke up to find it was only half time for one final score. That's a classic. I like that one. At least you went to bed happy. Chris, at least you went to bed happy. And then Carl, my dad, when he was a teenager, was walking home with 5 friends across the field and looked at a person looking at them. He said, why are they watching him and his friend? My dad, when he was a teenager, was walking home with 5 friends across the field and looked at a person looking at them. He said, why were they watching? Watching, and his friends said the house was empty. Wow. I still believe there's something out there. We cannot be the only civilization in this universe. There is something out there. There is a multiverse of Dermatron and Philip doing this Extreme stream right now, talking more rubbish than what me and Philip talk. But on that bombshell, let's get on with some football news while Philip's talking to the Russian Federation. Right, practice 1 for the Grand Prix today. I'll give you quickly round up the Formula 1. The top 4 or the top 3 is Max Verstappen on the 1 minute 29.659. Fernando Alonso was second in Aston Martin, a 1:29.845, a hundredth of a second, nearly 0.2 of a second behind Verstappen, and Sergio Perez was third in Red Bull, 0.2 of a second down on Verstappen's time. 23 laps for Perez, 24 laps for Alonso, 24 for Verstappen. So first practice over, looking good for Red Bull. Now, another bit of a question. Is Alonso bound for Liverpool or Bayern? Now, there is rumours going around that he has had no talk with Liverpool whatsoever, and that he's certain to take the Bayern Munich job. But my gut's telling me, and I've heard from my source as well, because I spoke to him this morning about this, he's at the same conclusion I am, that he will end up at Liverpool. Now, why? Why is Dermatron saying that? Oh my God, Dermot, there's someone behind you. Oh no, there isn't. We can do this. Oh yes, there is, all day long, DJ. I don't mind. Yeah, it's Casper the Ghost is behind me. It's a cockerel sitting on his balls. That's what he's doing. Anyway, it's Alonso. Look, I think he is Liverpool bound. I don't think he wants to go from Leverkusen to Bayern Munich. I think I know he played for both clubs, but I just feel he's going to be Liverpool bound. The law of the Premier League, the law of Liverpool, where he will get more time. Yeah, I finished off our daft talk with Philip. There is other people out there. We're not the only humans in this universe.
Yes.
There is somebody in another multiverse doing the exact same thing we're doing, but they're talking more rubbish than we normally talk.
Well, I hope to God they're not Arsenal fans. That's all I hope.
Do you know what? I think they would be.
They probably would be, because aliens tend to be that way inclined,
Yeah. Anyway, can we talk about football, please?
Is Alonso bound for Liverpool or Bayern?
I think he's on his way to Liverpool, though he's had contact with Bayern. He hasn't had contact with Liverpool. But would the law of Liverpool and the Premier League be too much to turn down Philip?
I think the fact that he'll alienate himself to a lot of German fans by staying in Germany and going to Bayern might swing it for Liverpool. He's done a fantastic job at Leverkusen, really. I mean, he's done better than I think anyone ever thought he would do. And to go to Bayern would be a little bit like Ange going to manage Arsenal. If you know where I'm coming from, there'll be a lot of animosity about it. And I think to escape that, I think he might see a project in Liverpool. Okay, Jurgen Klopp is a very hard act to follow. and he's going to be compared to him. Every move he makes is going to be, oh, Klopp wouldn't have done that. So it's a difficult move. It wouldn't surprise me now, and this has been really, really off the wall on this one, that he didn't go to either of them, but he went to someone like Manchester United instead.
You know what? That wouldn't surprise me either.
You know what I mean? John, coming from there, he wouldn't have any history with that club. And okay, I know he's an ex-Liverpool player, and that might alienate half the Liverpool population. But it wouldn't surprise me either that, or if Pep Guardiola happened to leave Man City. Okay, maybe not there, but do you know what I'm saying? He might have an ace up his sleeve, and it's neither of those two clubs.
Look, I think the Man United job. Look, Gareth Southgate's been linked to the Man United job, as we
first transfer in
that
Henderson.
Yeah. Now, do you think where would Alonso go to? Do you think, Philip? I think he's Liverpool bound, but do you think Man United still have that law of people of getting managers to come?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially with Jim Ratcliffe involved there now, they know there's a little bit more stable future ahead of the club, even though the Glazers are still there. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. You know. Then again, he might decide to stay at Leverkusen, because if he wins the title there, he's a hero.
Yeah.
Right. And I know the second season shift is going to be difficult to retain the title next season, but he might just decide that what does he need the hassle and the grief? He's happy where he is. He can negotiate a big pay rise from Leverkusen, I'm sure, and he might just stay where he is. But I think Bayern, the outsider in this deal for me would be Bayern. I don't think he'll go to Bayern.
Do you know what? I said it the other night, Philip. I said the win the other night could spark Bayern into a massive run.
Yeah.
Where they could overturn this 10-point deficit.
Well, maybe. I honestly don't think so, though. I think, okay, I know they won the other night, but they won against a very poor Lazio team, really.
Yeah.
You know,
Lazio turned up looking for just to take the 1-0
penalties. Yeah. One thing, can I just say one thing? I know he's not our player anymore, but Harry Kane became the first English player to score 50 goals in Europe the other night. So well done to Harry Kane for that now.
Yeah. He scored 28 Champions League goals, Philip, in 40 Champions League appearances.
That's good. That's pretty good now. That's pretty good.
And just one quick question before we move on. It was mentioned on Talk Sport. Who's going to win a trophy first, Harry Kane or Tottenham?
As I said to you earlier, I think it's going to be simultaneous. I think Bayern Munich will win something next season, as will Tottenham. So I'm going to go there. Okay, it's not going to be the same day, but season-wise, it'll be the same season.
Peter Rem says, Dermot, you're right there. There is something out there, and we're watching you.
We're watching you.
And I'm watching you.
Big Brother is watching you. Because that's
Big Brother is watching you.
Yeah.
Carl says, what's the price max first? Who's about to walk away from Red Bull after coming to the defense of his dad? Yeah, exactly. DJ says, oh my God, Dermot, there's someone behind you. Yeah, it's a cockerel on his balls. Dan Davenport says, Dermot, there are rumours FSG have talks with City and Zidane. Well, there's no chance of that happening because he doesn't want to come to a British club. But money can sway people, Dan. Money can sway people. Alonso will probably go to Bayern. Liverpool is open to him later on in his career. Yeah, I think he will. Carl says, if I was Alonso, I would go to Bayern. Why would you want to follow Klopp? That is a big mountain to climb. Look at the people trying to follow Ferguson. They haven't exactly done well in Manchester, have they? Chris says Liverpool are left in a better position than Bayern. Yeah, that's so true. Carl says no one talks more rubbish than you, Dermo. LOL. Mrs. Tron would disagree with that. Mrs. Tron knows I speak absolute sense, don't I? Yeah. She said that so convincingly. I think she agrees with you, Chris. Carl. I think she does. Anyway, in a parallel universe, Spurs are top of the Italian league. Yep, that is so true. Here's Dan. Why wouldn't the skeleton not find anyone to go to the dance night? He had nobody to go. He had nobody to go with. That's good. I like that. Well done, Dan. Made me giggle. Well done. I want Ruben Amanomi from Sporting Lisbon. I've said it for years. I think Alonso needs another season rally, in my opinion. That's interesting. I wouldn't rule staying where he is now exactly, Carl. Did Philip say Adelante? I don't know what Philip said, to be fair. Dan Davenport. Though I like the joke, Philip. Peter. I think it was a good joke. Well done, Dan. Keep them coming. Man United will always have the law, poster boys of the Premier League. It's like people saying Hamilton wouldn't go to Ferrari, but he did for his retirement pension. Yeah, exactly. If Alonso wins the Bundesliga with Bayer, why he shouldn't stay and take them into the he should stay and take them into the Champions League. Great experience for a relatively inexperienced manager. So true. Could see Alonso stay and go for the Champions League and then replace Guardiola at City. That's not a bad point either. Bayern are done. Leverkusen won't drop that 10 points. Carl, football is a funny old game. It really is a funny old game. Well done, Kane, you prick. That's not very nice, Carl. At least you said well done and called him a prick afterwards. Fair enough. Alonso will have a strong support to take over from Ancelotti next season, so he could stay. Liverpool will be hard to turn down, though. It would be hard to turn down. On Alonso to Real Madrid, just you wait. Carl, what's your source telling you? Look, another thing I want to talk about very quickly. Now, Daniel faces transfer and trophy scrutiny after Tottenham confirms season ticket price hike. Tottenham have increased their season ticket prices. And this is a bit out of the article that I found. It says there is a certain irony to Tottenham starting an announcement confirming an increase to season ticket prices and the eventual removal of senior concession prices by stating that they are pleased to announce details of the renewal process. They're pleased to announce we're putting more money, putting your prices up. I'm glad they're pleased because I'm not. And thanking fans for their support. The 6% increase in season tickets prices at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium was never going to be received well. Understandably, at the time when the cost of living continues to rise across the board, but it was, rightly or wrongly, always going to be in the pipeline. Spurs were one of only 3 clubs with Brentford and Chelsea to freeze their season ticket prices last season. Look, it's tough out there because you have the living crisis, the cost of living crisis happening. You got people struggling to pay bills, struggling to pay for their food, struggling to put shoes on their feet and clothes on their back, struggling to pay for their heating bills, struggling to pay for this, struggling to pay for that. And Tottenham think it's okay. We'll increase the season tickets by 6% and people will find the money. Now, people will find the money and pay for this. But what really gets up my goat is people that complain about it and saying, I don't agree with this, but end up paying the 6% anyway. I think, and I know if you lose your season ticket, somebody else is going to take it over. But aren't you making more of a protest by saying, I'm not standing for this, so I'm going to give up my season ticket? Instead of complaining about it and paying it and complaining about it. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense to me. And I feel you can make a more of a statement by not renewing your season ticket and saying, I'm doing this because I'm putting a protest up to the 6% increase. Where you say, I demand, I'm not happy with the 6% increase, but I'm going to pay it anyway. And I'm going to get my season ticket, but I'm going to complain about it. Nobody's going to take you seriously. Nobody's going to listen to that. I think more people would listen to you if you were not renew your season ticket. And this is the reason why I'm not renewing it. And another thing is, it's pricing people out going to games for next season. It's already expensive enough for me to go to games now. When it comes to the point of next season, I won't be able to afford to go. I'm going to the Arsenal game, and my ticket for the Arsenal game, now for the Brighton game, it was €50. For the Arsenal game, it's going to cost me €87. And then I've got to buy a flight, and then we're getting a hotel for the night. It depends when the Sky TV decide to announce when the game is. So it's going to run about €300, all in total, there and back. Now, That's a lot of money for me. It's a lot of money for anyone. That's Mrs. Tron's right. He said, and to Mrs. Tron, that's a few dresses that she could have bought on the shop. She's not happy with me, but there you go. Tottenham have to come first. And she knows that. Now, I have to be very fair. Mrs. Tron is very good, actually, when it comes to me going to Tottenham. She's very good. She lets me go, and she says,
I like the break.
She likes the break, and also she gets to spend loads of money at £5.com. Yeah, and I don't say anything, so I turn a blind eye to that. But I buy my memberships, which is €50. So there's going to be an increase on the membership. So anyone that complains about a season ticket and then buys the season ticket, I have no time for you. I'm sorry, Philip. I'm just saying, if you really want to make a protest about this, it's not to renew your season ticket. Anyone that renews it and complains about the increase, well, what you complaining for? Because you're paying the price anyway.
Yeah.
Am I wrong in saying that? Am I wrong in saying that?
Well, you know what's going to happen here is, I mean, there's such a waiting list for season tickets. They know well. If there's a small protest number that people don't want to renew it, they'll sell it to somebody else. They don't care. You know, and the timing is bad on this, but in defense of the club now, this is I'm not defending the fact that the increase.
Hang on, Philip. Philip, can I just get in? This is a political party broadcast for Tottenham Hotspur on behalf of Daniel Levy, being spoken by his chief supporter, Philip Brady. Go on, Philip. Just wanted to put that announcement in.
You can fucking withdraw it. I'm not Daniel Levy's chief supporter. Jesus, I'm talking from a business point of view here, right? You're putting me down. I'll be getting death threats now after that. Bloody hell!
I am joking, by the way.
Do you want me to disappear without trace some night? Coming out with stuff like that.
I'm only joking, by the way.
No, I know you're only joking, but there's people out there might not. Anyway, as I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted, the club last season withheld the season ticket increase.
Yeah.
They put up the price of the other tickets, but didn't put up the season ticket price, right? So that being said, they probably think it's justified to put it up at the moment because the cost of living has gone up. There is inflationary factors involved here. They're probably saying the cost of running the stadium and the staffing at match days and with stewards and whatever has gone up. And this is the minimum we feel to do to keep it on a level keel. So I can understand that from a business point of view.
Yeah, I can.
But it's not going to be accepted by the fans because any increase is regarded as Daniel Levy's at it again. Basically.
But do you get my point, Philip? People will complain, but they're still going to buy the season tickets.
Oh, yeah, there is. Of course they will. Yeah, of course they will.
So what's the point of complaining in the first damn place?
Listen, there's people been buying season tickets, probably had a season ticket for the last 30 years. And over that 30 years, you can say there's been a hell of a lot of price increases. They've always absorbed them before, and they're going to keep absorbing them. Now, there will be ones that will vote with their feet and not buy it, but Daniel won't care because there'll be the likes of you and me coming up behind will willingly buy that ticket because there's such a demand for tickets.
But what's also getting me, I'm just saying that you and me won't be able to afford to go to games next year, Philip.
No, but that's, I mean, I'll give you an example. Dermot and Dave are going over to the Arsenal match, right? Now, we still don't know what day of the week that match has been played on, whether it's Saturday or Sunday, which makes it extremely difficult to book flights, book hotels if necessary, and book everything, right? It shows you now this isn't so much Tottenham, this is Sky not having total disregard. The likes of having the Spurs playing in Newcastle at 12:30 on a Saturday. Where's the thought for the fans there? But that being said, I've lost my train of thought now. That being said, the season ticket hike will be talked about and given out about, but in the heat of the hunt, I think there will be a very small percentage of fans that won't pay the increase because they want to go and see the team. And that's it.
Now,
and Daniel Levy knows that.
But to be fair as well, Philip, there were one of only 3 teams to freeze their season ticket prices last season.
Exactly.
So
and that means that it was going to come at some stage.
Yeah, everyone knew this was coming down the pipeline.
Yeah.
So, but I just get people that moan about it and then buy the season tickets and then still moan about it. Well, what's the point of buying your season ticket in the first place?
Yeah. You're right. Go back to the previous point there. It is very expensive for us to go over and see the game.
Yeah.
It is. It really is.
It's costing me €300, Philip, all in total.
Yeah.
And I don't have that money. I'm joking with Mrs. Tron saying, "Oh, she joins it for shopping and can't buy." I joke about that, but you know how tough it is over here, Philip, with the cost of living over here.
Yeah.
And we all got to practice this in tomorrow. I've been to one game already. €50 that ticket cost me. This ticket's cost me €87. Now,
I got my ticket for Burnley cost me €55.
Now, I was going over to the Burnley game with you. Now, it probably doesn't look like we're going for that. And we were going over for content reasons as well. But you're going over for the weekend anyway. So your flight over is not really.
It doesn't matter. I'm going to Birmingham for the weekend. I'm only getting the train down to London whenever the game is on, you know.
But the thing is, for me to fly over and fly back in the same day, because my health isn't great. You know my health isn't good, Philip. That knocks me out for a few days.
Oh, I'll tell you, Dermot, I normally do that, and it's a tough ask. You're at the airport at 6 o'clock in the morning to get out, and you're not back home from 10 or 11 o'clock that night.
I went to the Bournemouth game. I left my house at 2 o'clock in the morning. Got the first flight over. Got back. I was back nearly 12 hours later. 2 o'clock Sunday morning. I was back home.
24. That's 24 hours then.
24 hours.
Yeah. No, it's a tough ask.
So this way,
but you know what I used to do? Do you know what I used to do when I was young?
Yeah.
I used to get the ferry from Dunleary to Holyhead on a Friday night. The train down to London, go to the match, go back to Euston for 8 o'clock that night, get the train back to Holyhead and the bus back and the boat back to Dublin, and I'll be home on Sunday morning. That was a hell of a trip, I'll tell you.
Yeah. And I prefer to get the boat over than fly over, to be fair.
Well, I know I love flying. It's just that that's they couldn't afford us.
Yeah. Anyway, just to put on two more events that will cover your interest. Why con the hell out of fans that have seen crap for years? Exactly. Dan Dunport says everyone's second practice session is about to get underway, Dermot. Thank you so much. Alonso should stay at Leverkusen, try to prove himself again. Carl saying, come on, Spurs and leave. You put the prices up once you win titles and trophies. Looks bad to me. Yeah. Ancelotti is under investigation for fraud. Alonso high up on the wanted list.
That's been disproved, actually. That's been disproved. Ancelotti was under investigation a number of years ago. He's paid whatever fine was involved. So that's old news, unfortunately. Well, fortunately.
Alonso to Real Madrid, just you wait and see.
Yeah, that's something that could happen. Yeah. That's because he played for them as well, didn't he?
We were going to do, Philip, the fixtures for the weekend. So we might put that to tonight.
Might that for tomorrow. Yeah, tonight.
To tonight we'd leave it to tomorrow because we're on at 4 tomorrow. Now it's going to be interesting because we're going to start at 4. We're doing the daily Hotspur news show between 4 and 5, and then we're going to quickly come off. Philip's going to quickly run into his sitting room, turn on his telly. I'm going to quickly change things around in my situation here. Then we're going to do the qualification for the Grand Prix, and then Saturday we're on at 4:45. For the Grand Prix, and we are going to we're going on at 4:30.
We're covering the rugby and the Grand Prix, but mainly the Grand Prix.
We're going to do the full race, and then if Philip will come in with the quick scores that rugby have, during the race, we'll keep you updated with it going across the bottom. Thank you so much, Mr. Brady, for.
Sorry, I was missing in action there, but I'm technically still working today, so that's why.
That's okay. I'll send you back to your dungeon later.
No, that's all right.
Yeah. We're on tonight. Do you want to give tonight a plug? Because we are on the.
It's the Unholy Trinity is on tonight at 9 o'clock. We're not going to disclose the subject matter because it could go off at a tangent at any moment, as things happen to do when these three get together. So 9 o'clock tonight. Be prepared for some controversial views, probably a bit of bad language and swearing as well. But part of the course, that isn't it, really?
Yeah. Well, I started it last week, and you two didn't follow. I was very disappointed in you last week.
We'll make up for it tonight. Now we'll make up for it tonight.
Yeah, I know you're going to be
9 o'clock, so we're going past the watershed.
I know you're controversial. I will actually get Dave's view on this Horner thing. I know he doesn't watch a lot of Formula One, but Philip, it's very interesting. Very quickly before we go, look, you've seen a lot of sport over the years: rugby, football, Formula One. Do you feel sport has now stopped being sport? Sport has now become a business. Football is a business. Formula One is a business.
It's a money-making racket now, really. Most sports are. the element. Okay, there's still a sporting element there because once the teams get out on the pitch or into the car or whatever, that's the sporting element. But at the end of the game, it all turns into how much money did we make today? That becomes the subject matter, you know. So
very quickly, Philip, before we go, can you give our official sponsor a plug? Let me get the picture up first. Hang on. Here we go.
Here we
go. It's on the screen.
Really, yeah, if you go into the website DrinkWraith, WRAITH.com, they're our official partner, and if you scan that QR code, you'll get 10% off your first order using the code THFCTID, and you'll get your delivery of bathwater among other lovely flavors that they have. They have other things as well. They've hoodies, they've got sweatshirts, t-shirts, caps, stuff like that. But they're a new kid on the block in the energy drink market, and they're making big inroads. And we're delighted to have them as an official partner. And the more you support them, the more they'll support us, and the more content you'll get, and better content. So that's it. So head over to drinkwraith.com or scan that barcode
and use the 10%. Use the code
10% off. 10% off. Yeah.
Now I'm still waiting for my bathwater to come.
Don't worry, it'll arrive. It'll arrive soon.
I'm wondering. Apparently, Butterbean. Remember the big fat boxer in America, Butterbean? Apparently, his bathwater.
Okay. Nice.
Philip hasn't got a clue who I'm talking about.
Is it that obvious?
Yeah, it is. Is that Boris Johnson behind the Wrath?
It could be.
Let's have a look again. And let's have a look. Hang on, let me bring it up. There we go, Philip.
Oh yeah, very like him actually. Yeah, that's what he's doing now.
That's
what he's doing now.
That's what he's doing now. Yeah. He's saying drink Wrath because it would give more money to the NHS. Now on that bombshell, I shall go off and finish my work for the day, and I'll see you later on, Dermot. Yeah. We'll see you for the Unholy Trinity, podcast for the three most unholiest men around.
That's it.
And that's a bombshell. See you later. Bye-bye.
See you later.